Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I am going to talk about Pokemon Go. So Pokemon Go has been out for about 2 weeks now, maybe getting close to 3, and it is a game changer. So it is certainly a game. It is a video game. I feel like this is a fairly unusual video for me because I am not a video game fan generally. And so I think that's true, actually. I am not a video game fan. I am a fan of two very specific things. I am a fan of Pokemon. I am a huge fan of Pokemon. And I am a fan of family. My wife and my children, are the, end all be all to me. I absolutely love them. I'm very blessed to have a wife and 4 kids. And Pokemon is very important to the Garibay family. So my oldest son, Xavier, he is 21 years old now, and he is a Pokemon fan. He has been a Pokemon fan since he was about 4 years old. So that is at minimum of 17 years of Pokemon for the Garibay family. And so I have many very wonderful memories connected to Pokemon with my oldest son and with my youngest son. I have 2 daughters, and they have been Pokemon fans marginally. They enjoy Pokemon, but it's never been a big thing. But both of my boys are, Pokemon crazy. So I have all kinds of memories of Pokemon, like just a lifetime of memories of Pokemon. And so this is why I care about this video game, right? What are my memories of Pokemon? I remember watching the Pokemon animated television show with Team Rocket and Meowth and Ash and Brock and Misty with my young son, Xavier. And just so much fun we had, really enjoyed it. I remember taking Xavier and one of his friends to a Pokemon movie. And I remember, just what a special time that was. This was a Pokemon released film, animated film in the movie theater, right? So that's really fun, right? I remember Xavier playing Pokemon when he got old enough, playing the Pokemon games on his Nintendo DS, his Nintendo 2DS, his Nintendo 3DS, his Nintendo 3DS XL, and one thing that, I'm not a huge fan of video games, but I sure do love my son, and, so if he wants to tell me about his Pokemon team, I'm sure I'm going to listen. And so I did, and so over the years, I've really learned a lot about Pokemon, and I've really grown to be a huge fan of the series, and especially the Pokemon themselves. There's 750 Pokemon, and they are fascinating and wonderful, and some are cute and some are ferocious, and and as a body of knowledge, as a body of creatures, they're really quite amazing. It's a really cool, awesome series of animals, and also I'm a huge fan of Japanese culture. So, there's just a lot of good memories attached to Pokemon. Now, with my youngest son, Logan, he is now wanted, as soon as Pokemon Go came on, as soon as we saw the trailer, we were like, holy cow, this is going to be huge. And then it dropped, and it was huge, man. Like, Pokemon Go just hit like a hammer. I was amazed at how much cultural impact Pokemon Go has had here in America, right? And so so my youngest son plays, and he installed it on my wife's Android phone, and I installed my own game on my Android phone. And one thing that's really cool about this game, I do not take this for granted, this game is free, right? So we have not spent a single dime on Pokemon Go, and it has been wonderful, right? Like, what a gift that Pokemon Go is giving to people. The game is 100% playable, and playable well without spending money on it. And I work in information technology, so I know why they're doing this. Just having, a link to me on my phone, having, knowing, a little bit about me and my play habits, where I'm going, all those kind of things. Data is becoming a currency. And so if you have somebody using your app on their phone, you get a lot of data. And so you're getting a form of a currency. So I really find that fascinating, absolutely fascinating. So one thing that's really, really cool about Pokemon Go is just what it is meaning to me and my family already. Oh, I'm sorry, I want to backtrack just a little bit. So I told you about my memories of Pokemon with my son Xavier, but I didn't tell you about my memories of Pokemon with my son Logan. So long before Pokemon Go came out, I had some wonderful, really special memories with my son Logan that centered around Pokemon. So, and my daughter Tala. So I play Dungeons and Dragons. I play it all the time. I'm a huge fan of tabletop role-playing games. And my kids would see this. They would see me reading these big 300-page rule books, and they would ask me about it. And I said, well, I could run a role-playing game for you guys. I could run a role-playing game that, centered around you, maybe as Pokemon trainers. This was like 2-3 years before Pokemon Go came out, right? It's about 2-3 years ago. And so I would say for about 6 months, maybe 8 months, we played a very long-term Pokemon tabletop role-playing game. And it was super fun. So it had its own story, it had its own characters, and, basically you would roll a d20 and maybe you caught a Pokemon or maybe you didn't, and you had a collection of Pokemon. And there were even elements that weren't in the Pokemon world that I had introduced to it, just making the world a little bit mine, and the kids loved it. And what would happen is I work pretty hard during the week. Monday through Thursday, I usually work from 8:30 in the morning till 7:30 p.m. at night. Work a long day, you know what I mean? And because I provide for a wife and 4 kids, so I make sure that I'm, top of the pack at work as much as I possibly can be. That I'm always providing a good amount of work and a really solid block of productivity for whoever is kind enough to employ me. So I would come home at 7:30, and I would spend about 5-10 minutes talking with Leanne, and we would sit down on the floor and start playing this Pokemon tabletop role-playing game with my kids, with Tala and Logan. And we told those stories. And we would have a session of a half an hour to 45 minutes a night, and then at 9 o'clock they were young, and so they'd have to go to bed, and that was and there were nights where they would be like, oh, we really want to play more, and me and my wife would have to tell them, well, you have school in the morning, so that's just a tremendous. So I have all these wonderful memories attached to Pokemon, right? So Pokemon is a new memory creator, right? And this game hasn't even been out for 3 weeks, and already I have a tremendous memory that's been created with Pokemon Go, the video game, that I will remember for the rest of my life, and I think my kids will remember for the rest of my life. Or Logan, my son, will. So a buddy of mine, his name is Mike, and he is a great friend, and I know him from Tabletop Role-Playing Game, but he's a Pokemon Go player, and he said, hey, Scott, I'm taking my dog to Valley Forge, where George Washington fought the American Revolutionary War. And we're going to go catch some Pokemon at the Valley Forge National Park right here in Pennsylvania. And I was like, that's a great idea. Let's do it, man. So he's like, bring anybody you want. So I told my family, and actually I told I told all my kids, you're welcome to come. But only Logan wanted to come. So my wife had to give him her phone for the day, right? And then I brought my phone, and he brought his phone, and we walked 5 miles in Valley Forge National Park, and it was bonkers. I never saw anything like this experience. Crazy. This is Pokemon Go is a truly special game, and it is a truly special video game. I've never seen anything like this, right? So we went to a national park where people are looking at like a military hut where George Washington stayed, right? And it was just like, hey, here's the area where he stayed, And, you know, it was just fascinating seeing, you know, what was actually going to be, it was really fascinating. So there's people here at the park, and they're looking where George Washington stayed, and there are people walking past them going, Mystic, Valor, crying out the names of their Pokemon teams, right? And it was just nutso. I was like, holy cows, right? I never saw anything like it, because the history people were just kind of weirded out. They're like, what is going on? And the Pokemon people there, it was a Sunday afternoon, it was the middle of the summer, people were out and about, you know, and it was just like young people, old people, but there were hundreds of people at Valley Forge National Park playing Pokemon Go, right? And you could tell them because they were walking, looking at their phone, looking a little bit at the surrounding, and just really enjoying one another, enjoying the game, enjoying their walk, enjoying their pets. You know, like, that's another thing. You play this video game. We had a golden retriever with us. You know, we were playing this video game and, you know, walking along with a golden retriever. And I'm just like, this is crazy. You know, and my son, he just had the best time. We walked 5 miles playing a video game, you know, and we just really had a great time doing it. So, you know, and I got to spend more time with my buddy Mike in a mode that we don't normally spend time, you know, because we just sit around a table playing tabletop role-playing games, which is super fun. Love that activity. But to get out and, you know, spend time with his dog, spend time with my friends, spend time with my son. I've never seen a video game that does this, that forms friendships, that takes existing friendships and makes them stronger, gives you an opportunity to make new friendships, gives you an opportunity to see travel and see your own surroundings in a new and exciting way. And man, I just think Pokemon Go is the best thing ever. Absolutely love it. And boy, they have got a real successful product on their hands. And Pokemon Go is actually even going to make a lot of other people money, even beyond Nintendo and Niantic. You know, because one of the things, as we're realizing now, our 9-year-old son, we may need to buy, you know, an Android phone just so he can play Pokemon Go on his own phone, you know. And so, for no other reason than this game, because we can't have him taking my wife's phone for an entire day, you know, once or twice on a weekend, you know, like that gets crazy. So, you know, it just really, it is a fantastic, wonderful game. It is an extension of fantastic, wonderful memories for me and my boys around this wonderful game, around this wonderful intellectual property. And I think that's the other thing that's interesting, is Pokemon is an intellectual property that's so strong, it is going to make people care about augmented reality. And it is just absolutely awesome. Big fan of Pokemon Go. Take care, everybody.